Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Joining me in a bit on sign language, Elizabeth Nakakoni. Let's take a look at the top stories for the night. President Museveni's fundamental change. UBC TV looks at Uganda's transformation journey under the NRM. Significance of instruments of power put into perspective. And northern Uganda to receive processing plant. While Vipers versus Villa, Express versus FC in quarters. Rhoda Ngonzi. Now, heads of state from different African countries and high-powered delegations from Asia and Europe continue to touch ground at Entebbe International Airport to grace President Museveni's 6th inauguration ceremony set for tomorrow, Wednesday, at Kololo Independence Ceremonial Grounds. By press time, Ghanaian President Nana Addo Donkwa Akufo-Addo, Salva Kiir of South Sudan, Haile Geingob of Namibia, Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo of Somalia, Everesti Ndiashime of Burundi, and Sahale Wok Zoedi of Ethiopia had all arrived, confirming their attendance in person, whereas about 10 have sent high-power delegations. In another development, 9 executives of regional organizations have also arrived. Meanwhile, 12 countries are to be represented at the level of Vice President, Prime Minister, and Ministers of Foreign Affairs. Initially, President Museveni had an extended invitation to 42 heads of state from a pool of over 100 world over to attend his swearing-in ceremony. Museveni will this Wednesday take oath of office for the 6th presidential term, to which the post-independence government had conspired to consign it. In this report, Samuel Senono looks at Museveni's years as president, which have been accompanied by a long period of peace and enormous development changes, thus making him Uganda's choice for president over the years.
Speaking as president for the first time at the stairs of parliament, Museveni indicated that theirs wasn't a mere change of guards, but rather a fundamental change.
Happening today, what has been happening in the last few days is a mere change of guards. It's not a mere change of guards. I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
Taking over as president of a politically past.
I found that if we didn't act, first of all, there would be no solution to the Ugandan political crisis. There would be no solution. We would go on endlessly with the same cycle of violence and regime which don't do any work.
He soon embarked on numerous peace and reconciliation efforts with various splinter rebel groups. First was a peace deal inked between over 2,000 former soldiers of the exiled former President Idi Amin, led by Ali Bamuze, and Brigadier General Moses Ali. At the event, Museveni extended a Fukonyan ADF in western Uganda led by the now in prison Jamil Mukulu. Museveni also set out to defeat these insurgencies.
Talk to the commanders. They are going to close all these loopholes. And Konyi and his group have no way except either to be exterminated, as we intend to do, or come and surrender, which we shall, I will accept I will amnesty those who surrender.
This is a robust system. It is strong. The UPDF defeated the ADF, disarmed the cattle rustlers in Karamoja.
He has also mended relations with cultural institutions, most notably those whose frosty relations with the previous governments had created instability in the country.
I'd like to tell our people that 30 years of mourning are enough. Now is the time to begin rebuilding Buganda with our brains and hands. The Omulembe Omutebi will be one of reconciliation, unity, peace, and development.
On the economy front, Museveni inherited an economy that has currently. Museveni initiated economic policies designed to combat key problems such as hyperinflation and balance of payments. He has also laid out strategies aimed at impelling investments in the country, categorically indicating that he will not relent on this and lenience not be given to anyone failing them. This was evident in 2002 when he presided over the construction launch of Bujagari Hydropower Dam, which came 5 years late.
I'm not happy and I'm ashamed even to come here. I am not happy because a project which should have taken 2 years to start has taken. Is that something to be happy about? I'm not happy at all. Stop making a fool of ourselves. We should develop our country.
Presently, Uganda has a generation capacity of 550 megawatts with a peak demand of 489 megawatts. This has graced numerous investments in the country. The infrastructure in general is far better than when he found it. New schools and universities have been constructed. Communication has improved 100-fold, just like the banking and industrial sectors. Museveni has initiated programs that are designed to transform the lives of Ugandans forever. Grassroots vision and mass education have replaced the colonial and post-colonial programs that did not address.
We have also used that magazine.
Under his leadership, the government has registered monumental landmarks in agriculture, emancipation of women, tourism, democracy, peace and stability, water,
industry, services, ICT, and there are different activities there. And each activity, you look at it, you enter into it because you want to produce a product which is economically profitable and has got a market within Uganda or within the region or internationally.
Uganda has also had a cleansing of stained international relations. The country is now an abbot of peace in the region, Abi. Museveni has been steadfast in his quest for a peaceful and interconnected
region, village, province, because they don't know. They are looking only after goats. When you are looking after goat, you need just one hill. For us, with NRM, we are telling you about patriotism within Uganda, uzalendo ndani ya Uganda, Pan-Africanism for Africa. Because we knew that in order to have prosperity, you cannot think in terms of your tribe, you cannot think in terms of even Uganda. You must think in Palaf.
Headed leadership was recently on display when COVID-19 had all top economies. His sixth term in office, Museveni has promised to carry on with his developmental programs earlier laid out, all aimed at transforming Uganda. He is out stronger than ever before to see this through. It is evident that Uganda today has taken on a growth trajectory, and the country gives an impression of a nation protruding out of a rainforest with a much desired middle income status in clear sight. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Meanwhile, President-elect General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni shall be sworn in tomorrow by the Chief Justice. The event will have the President receive instruments of power. Ivan Kahwa tells us the importance of these instruments and why they are given to the person of the President.
Each new term of office, the President-elect of the Republic of Uganda is ushered in office for a new term from different countries to witness the exercise. The Electoral Commission chairperson recites the process that led to the win of the President-elect.
The presidential elections were conducted on 18th February 2016 by universal adult suffrage through secret ballot.
The commission boss then presents the President of Uganda to the Chief Justice of Uganda for the swearing-in ceremony. The Chief Justice then hands to the President the instruments of power, for which each has a meaning attached to it. The President.
The Constitution symbolizes the power of the rule of law. It means that the President is going to rule by the law, which is contained in the Constitution, which is the supreme law.
The national flag and the national anthem, which symbolize independence and sovereignty.
The presidential standard flag.
Flag also symbolizes the power of the President. It is normally put wherever he is. It is always at his backyard, his background. So that one is also going to be one of them.
The coat of arms, which symbolizes power, and a public seal.
Meaning whatever documents you issue out as a president, they will be having that instrument, that seal, as an instrument of carrying the strength of the presidency.
The Chief of Defense Forces then hands the shield and a sword to the new president, signifying that he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. These are the same instruments always given to the President-elect, unless they are damaged, which will then require having new. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Kampala.
Meanwhile, Uganda's return to multi-party politics. What has been the situation like since then? What has defined these elections? Our political reporter Henry Okrut gives us an insight into Uganda's opening up of political space in the country's elective politics.
Listen to him.
One political party after another.
If my mind does not lie to me.
Advancing their agenda to Ugandans has been the practice since 2005. It is a year when Ugandans voted to return to multi-party politics. It is a period that has been characterized by expression of leadership ambitions.
I come before you today to tell you that I'll be seeking your vote.
Disagreements.
We need to tell our people to know that there's life after campaigns.
And something similar to political ulcers.
I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, being an administrator of an electoral process in a third world country is one of the hills without slopes.
Challenges of this nature started in 2006 when the first multi-party presidential elections were held after the return of the system. Whereas some political parties were able to overcome the challenges, some were not. National Resistance Movement under Yoweri Museveni played out its cards well, beating other political parties, including newly formed Kizza Besiege's Forum for Democratic Change. Others were Media Obote's Uganda People's Congress, Sebana Kizito's Democratic Party, and independent Abedi Bwanika. Yoweri Museveni won with 4,109,449 votes, accounting for 59.26%, while Kizza Besigye garnered 2,592,954, accounting for 37.39%, and others. Discontented with the results, Besigye unsuccessfully challenged the results in the courts of law.
How institutions are set up is vital in how they are appointed by one candidate. The independence of that commission is going to be questionable.
5 years later, multi-party elections were again held in 2011. The presidential race that attracted 8 candidates saw Museveni win again. But this time, it was not challenged in court, despite some players not agreeing with the outcome. Uganda's consolidation of democratic governance did not just end there. In 2016, 8 candidates were again attracted in the presidential race. Museveni again won, beating his 4-time challenger, Dr. Kizza Besigye Mbabazi. In all these polls, parliamentary elections have always been held at the same time, with the ruling National Resistance Movement often securing majority seats. But what leaf do some political parties have to borrow from others?
The professor says UPC is alive. I do agree, because what explains this one. But it is not well. Let us not pretend that UPC is well. UPC is alive, but it is not well. How many UPC presidents do we have? How many? You are beginning to hide your head under the sun. UPC needs to put its house in order.
There's going to be differences in policies. That is always there, and that is why parties by nature exist. We may have different approaches to the same problems. And those problems do exist. We cannot wish them away. But how do we manage them?
5 presidential elections, overseen by 4 different electoral commission chairpersons, are what Ugandans have experienced since 1996. In all these elections, although challenged by 29 others, including 3 women, Museveni always came out victorious, including the just concluded 2021 polls. Henry Okurut, UBC.
And security has President Museveni's swearing-in ceremony to ensure safety and peace of Ugandans, not excluding Kampala. Our reporter Saddam Mubale traversed around Kampala, capital city, to assess the situation and security alertness.
With less than 24 hours for a presidential swearing-in ceremony of the incumbent President Museveni, different state security agencies are not taking chances. All key strategic locations in and out roads to the capital Kampala are heavily manned with the cocktail of specialized forces, including the UPDF, Uganda Police and other security actors in covert and overt operation, where the central business district is well secured. Areas that are heavily deployed include the Kampala City Square, downtown Kampala areas of Kiseka, and the National Unity Platform head offices in Kamocha under tight surveillance. We took the narrative to residents and businessmen in the Kampala about the deployment.
I see that it is good because If someone wants to intimidate us, we know that we shall be safe. And on the other hand also, somehow it is scaring to us because you end up thinking that there is war or what, but at the end of the day, what we want is only security.
Joe. They are protecting us citizens. I haven't seen any soldier beating anyone. There is no problem in the city. Maybe the military deployment is they are there to protect us. We don't need to get scared. Maybe if someone is in ceremony is scheduled on 12th of May 2021. Sadam Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has received 200 laptops from the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance to support and enhance capacity of public universities' e-learning initiatives. First Lady received the laptops from the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Nawakoba, at a function held at State House in Tebe on Monday. Honorable Nawakoba, beg your pardon, that's Honorable Nawakoba. The ceremony, I beg your pardon, the First Lady received the laptops from the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Nawakoba, at a function held at State House in Tebe on Monday. Nawakoba was flanked by State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Peter Ogwang, and Permanent Secretary Vincent Bajide. The ceremony was witnessed by State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Muhingo, some of the Vice-Chancellor of the beneficiary public university, and senior officers from the Education Ministry. Out of the 200 laptops, Makerere and Chambogo universities received 30 each, Busetema and Mbarara 20 each, while Gulu, Muni, Lira, Soroti and Kabale universities, plus Makerere University Business School, received 15 laptops each. Uganda Management Institute received 10 laptops. The student population and what ICT equipment and the universities already have was some of the factors considered in allocating the number of universities, the number of laptops per university. Mr. Museveni said the equipment support is a very timely intervention given the university's move towards e-learning, which has been propelled by the COVID-19 pandemic that greatly affected the education system in 2020, but also continues to do so.
The equipment support we are receiving today is a very timely intervention, given our move towards e-learning, which has been propelled by COVID-19 pandemic that hit the whole world and greatly affected our education system during the past year and continues to do so even today. As we grapple with the effects of this pandemic on all sectors of our economy, it is good to know that government is concerned and committed to rebuilding the economy of our country and returning the country to normalcy as much as possible. No doubt the education sector was greatly affected and all education institutions had to close, as you all know. We were not ready to continue learning when the pandemic struck because we had relied on the traditional methods of education and we were unprepared to use any alternative immediately. As a country, we must now prepare and be ready to continue learning whether or not there is a pandemic. As we continue rethinking alternative ways of delivery of education, we now recognize that technology is one of those powerful tools for supporting continuity of learning. We have to adapt to COVID-19 disruptions through technology and innovations. Our universities should not have closed had we been prepared. Learning continued in other parts of the world that were technologically prepared and could use technology to deliver education. We must now start to strengthen the capacity of our educational institutions, starting with the institutions of higher learning, to leverage the power of technology to to deliver education.
Prime Minister Dr. Uganda has today called an urgent meeting to address management and control of foot and mouth disease that is ravaging the cattle corridor. This follows persistent complaints from livestock farmers who have lost their animals to the disease.
The meeting brought together officials from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, a cross-section of livestock farmers, the Private Sector Foundation, and the Uganda Veterinary Association. The meeting raised pertinent issues ranging from inadequate and fake animal vaccines that has led to loss of livestock. The private sector asked government to allow them supplement onto importation of animal vaccines. The Prime Minister said government was equally concerned about the plight of livestock farmers and pledged to find collective and durable solutions.
Saying vaccinations and an added weapon in the many weapons we have, in the package of weapons we have against FMD.
Salient issues that emerged included the following: increasing funding for disease control programs, enhance sensitization and awareness creation at the social and economic impact of foot and mouth disease, to have sustained surveillance for foot and mouth disease and other diseases of public importance, amend the Animal Disease Act, Cap 38, to put stringent measures or penalties.
I agree with my senior sister here and the Private Sector Foundation, ED. If we have to maintain the markets, we must walk the talk. So there is no shortcut to this. As part of the global efforts, government also put in place a deliberate program for control of spread focused on FMD, PPR, goat and sheep plague. This will be achieved through the implementation of several strategies and plans developed by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and require adequate and sustainable funding. This calls for concerted effort by all stakeholders in the animal industry.
The meeting was also attended by the Minister for Security, General Eli Tumwine, Minister for Agriculture, Bamulangachi Vincent Sempija, and State Minister for Animal Husbandry, Bright Rwamerama. Doreen Nasasra reporting for UBC News.
Now, ahead of President-elect Yoweri Museveni's inauguration tomorrow, locals and leaders in Isingiro district have tasked him to put emphasis on fighting injustice, corruption amongst NRM leaders, and also to deter brutality by security forces during his 6th term of office. They also want him to start fulfilling all pledges and put into action all his vows to avoid unnecessary doubts in his government.
As President Yoweri Museveni prepares to be sworn in for another term of office, locals and the leaders in Isingiro have congratulated him upon assuming office. Museveni was, however, tasked to consider this term like no other to fight injustice, corruption and excessive use of force by security organs.
My elections. So they put me in the cells for 2 days, rigged me, and eventually declared themselves. So really, what I went through was really hell. And then second, when I came out of the cells on the second day, I realized that we had lost around 3 people in these elections. So some NRM candidates are no longer the choice of the people. For example, the minister you find he was supporting an independent candidate, the woman member of parliament who was independent against the NRM flag bearer. So people were asking themselves, if you're a minister and you're against a flag bearer, then he uses state machinery.
Isingiro was one of the districts whose last election was marred by violence, where some lives were even lost.
And the president, I know he's aware, like the person who was killed by soldiers in Katwenje, in Isingiro. It was a terrible incident. If you are not the choice of the people, People, even President Museveni didn't come to Isingiro, but they voted him 94% because they know what he has done.
Isingiro is also among the leading producers of matoke, but most of the locals remain under the poverty line.
As the president swears in tomorrow, my prayer as the chairperson of the district of Isingiro, as the political head of Isingiro, is one, value addition on matoke. There is no way we can be the leading producers of matoke in the entire region, in the entire country, and yet we only produce subsistently, we only eat and then sell some few. And yet this matoke could be our source of income if there was value addition on it. They would construct cottage industries from where they would process juice from matoke, from where biscuits would come from matoke, from where wine would come from matoke.
Besides, the poor state of Kabingo, Ntantamuki, Rakai Road, Kikagate Kitwe Road, and Kitiaza Bugango Road remains another itching issue affecting the people in the district.
If that road is not tarmacked, and it is a transit way from where over 200 roads transport matoke from our people to the markets, really, as a people of Isingiro, we shall really not feel happy throughout this term of 5 years. So those two, if they are handled, I can't give him more. The rest he's always handling, and he has always handled. Peace, stability, education, blah, blah, he has handled. But those are our priority concerns as per Isingiro.
Whereas they congratulated the president upon assuming another successful term in office, they want him to work on these roads since this was his presidential pledge.
There has been a nationwide...
We apologize for that, but Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, has partnered with National Water and Sewerage Corporation under a campaign dubbed 10 Million Tree Planting. His campaign is geared at preserving the environment and securing it for future generations.
There has been a nationwide outcry arising from continued degradation of nature through tree cutting. In a move to address this activity, National Water and Sewage Corporation, in partnership with the national broadcaster, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation UBC, have partnered to champion a drive dubbed 10 Million Tree Planting.
I show my skills.
The project is about planting trees. National Water has a campaign, a tree planting campaign, and we have a target of 10 million trees. So we are planting through various communities. We've partnered with quite a number of people.
Unlike similar projects which haven't seen the light of the day, this time round, National Water and partners are confident it will work.
We have the Ministry of Water and Environment that is giving us seedlings. NFA is also giving us seedlings. Now by UBC planting, it means they've partnered with National Water in this drive. And within 3 years, we hope to have planted 10 million trees.
The Deputy Managing Director UBC, Maurice Mugisha, believes this is a timely move.
We should be able to ramp up our campaign of tree planting to be able to protect our environment, but also secure this environment for the future generation. We would like to encourage as many Ugandans out there, especially the young people, to plant at least one tree, at least if they could every month, or at least one tree every week, because we have seen the effects of climate change.
Mr. Mugisha reaffirms the corporation's commitment to carrying forward the message to the public and also calls on other stakeholders to follow suit.
I might go with his finger.
With that, let's take a quick break. When we return, more details. This is News Tonight.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Senchu points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development
joins the people of Uganda to congratulating His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni upon his election and swearing in as President of the Republic of Uganda. Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development pledges to continue formulating sound economic policies, mobilizing resources and regulating financial management to enhance economic stability and development of Uganda. Long live Your Excellency, long live the people of Uganda.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Back, you are still watching News Tonight. Now, the revamping and rebranding of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Ubc, has necessitated the new outlook of the national broadcaster to fit broadcasting standards, according to the Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakova. During the Manifesto Week presentation for ICT Ministry, Nabakova, however, lamented over the accumulated UBC arrears, which currently stand at over 70 billion shillings.
Yes. And local government sites are already connected to the NBI.
As government agencies and ministries wind up the presentation of their key developments for the ending financial year in what was dubbed as the Manifesto Week, here at the office of the Prime Minister, on the floor was the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Nabakova.
Free Wi-Fi, which we call MyUG, is provided to the general public in 284 locations in the Central Business District of Kampala and Wakiso. The users of MyUG are 2 million each month as of now. MyUG was also established in Kasese, but also Masaka.
Nabakova also highlighted on the key sector developments, which included the revamping of UBC as the national broadcaster.
UBC rebranded with fresh youth look and feel. Quality of content on radio and TV has improved. 8 brand new television studio sets have been set up for UBC TV and Star TV. Digital terrestrial television, which is DTT, free-to-air network, increased the TV signal coverage from 20% in 2016 to 60% in 2020. The UBC National Radio Service has also been restored in areas of Chisoro, Dubirizi, Arua, Soroti, Lira, Mbarara, Masaka.
Her recent media engagements also topped the presentation by the Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakova. However, the minister also noted some key challenges for the sector, which according to her needs urgent attention.
Vandalism of ICT infrastructure and bushfires, fraud and other misuse of communication services, high taxation regime affecting adoption of ICT. UBC has an accumulated debt portfolio of about 75 billion Ugandan shillings.
The key focus area for the ICT ministry for the coming 5 years was also put down onto the paper.
Deployment of secure integrated cross-sector infrastructure, developing and promoting usage of quality communications and e-services, digital inclusion and citizen participation, ensuring standardization and interoperability of systems, enhancement of national cybersecurity, promoting innovation and commercialization of ICT products, enhancing digital literacy and developing skills, supporting development and uptake of emerging technologies such as the fourth industrial revolution technologies and others.
The manifesto presentation week is where key government agencies present their sector performances as in line with the financial year. I'm Robert Onyango for UBC News here in Kampala.
Recruit new parish chiefs in a bid to beef up the workforce to oversee effective implementation of the newly introduced parish development model. According to records, currently the Ministry of Local Government is operating on 50% coverage of parish chiefs, with most of whom are incompetent as per the ideal monitoring and supervision demands of government projects. As a new government sets in, the Minister for State for Local Government, Jennifer Namuyango, says plans of revamping and recruiting supplementary new brains are at the tail end.
For the last 1 week, different ministries, departments and agencies have been giving a report of their performance in relation to implementation of the 2016-2021 NRM manifesto commitments. On Tuesday, the Minister of Local Government followed suit, presenting a manifesto report indicating a score of 77%. State Minister for Local Government, Jennifer Namuyango, attributes the credit score to collaborative support from, among others, government and development partners.
Our target was also to procure 30 vehicles for the ministry inspection activities. We surpassed the target by procuring 46 vehicles, but we're also able to procure 200 motorcycles for 100 districts. Each district received 2 motorcycles, one for the audit department and the second one for the local revenue mobilization.
Enumerating some of the bottlenecks that have derailed the ministry's performance, inadequate staffing occasioned by limited wage bill and infrastructure constraints topped the list.
And this is basically absence of critical staff in the local governments, like heads of departments, parish chiefs. It is a challenge, and apparently we stand at 56% in the districts and 51% in the municipalities.
However, all is not lost. Government is reportedly working on modalities aimed at ensuring full empowerment of local governments for obvious reasons: quality service delivery. Government recently introduced parish development model as a strategy for organizing and delivering public and private sector interventions for wealth creation and employment generation at the parish level as the lowest economic planning unit. While addressing media on the ministerial achievements of the 2016-2021 manifesto implementations, Minister of State for Local Government, Jennifer Namuyango, disclosed that effective implementation of the parish model will require increased human resource at least by 2-fold.
We plan to revamp the functions of parish chiefs, because here again government has come up with the parish development model, and the parish chiefs have been doing local revenue mobilization, but in addition these are going to be involved in data collection, development of parish plans, and monitoring all the services delivered. Therefore, in the new manifesto, we have to ensure that we strengthen them, but also recruit more for them to handle the added responsibilities.
Meanwhile, government has halted creation of new administrative units to allow efficient operationalization of the already existing local governments. This comes shortly after reports that the recently created cities and municipalities are yet to take off due to constraints in budgetary allocation. Dorcas Kimono.
And the Minister for Health, Dr. Rhoda, has revealed at the closure of the interim manifesto week that her ministry has performed to an 84% visibility pass mark. The ranking of the Health Ministry was visibly witnessed with the fight it exhibited in countering of COVID-19 pandemic that brought the world to its knees.
At the closure of the interim manifesto held at the office of the Prime Minister, State Minister for General Duties, Rhoda revealed that 86% of the population accesses healthcare services in a radius of 5 kilometers.
The Ministry of Health strengthened the community mobilization and inspection to ensure hygiene and sanitation. We reviewed, updated, and developed relevant national strategies and plans, and of course materials to enhance community mobilization and participation. For example, comprehensive national health communication strategy for the health sector. We integrated the community health promotion handbook. We have public health communication strategies.
On the nutrition program, she explained that the program has been scaled up with the aim of preventing macro and micro malnutrition. On the front of prevention of mother-to-child HIV transmission, AIDS-related death dropped by 58% during the past decade.
Vertical infections from mother to their babies also dropped significantly during the past decade, especially with the adoption of PMTCT options. Vertical infections were 5,321 in 2020. Breakthrough MTCT is still seen among women who drop off ART during pregnancy and breastfeeding, and among women who acquire new HIV infections in pregnancy.
Despite of these tremendous in streamlining the health sector, latest statistics indicate that Uganda remains among the 30 high-burden HIV-TB countries in the world. However, she said that service delivery has been intensified with over 180,000 lives saved. Helen Barbara Chisamba, reporting for Ubc TV News.
We apologize for that, but just to go back a bit, National Unity Platform has today denied allegations that the party is planning to swear in former presidential candidate and NUP leader Robert Kyagulanyi as president-elect, contrary to what the law stipulates. According to NUP spokesperson Joel Senyonyi, the party leadership will, however, hold closed-door prayers and fasting at their party headquarters in Kamoja.
Together we always stand. In allegations by police and the military that Honorable Kyagulanyi plans to swear himself in. What a joke. we as NUP, whatever we do, we communicate. And so these allegations here, as far as we are concerned, this is a ploy by top officials in police and the military to make some money. We are not about to play games and joke around and I don't know what, hide somewhere and swear. No. We are a very serious lot. We, as the National Unity Platform, have declared tomorrow a day of prayer and fasting. We've declared it a day of prayer and fasting because we believe our country needs the intervention of the Lord.
And Buganda Katikiro Charles Peter Mayiga has disclosed that Buganda has achieved a lot in the last 8 years of his tenure. Mayiga was addressing the media at Bulange Mengo about his 8-year achievements since his appointment as Katikiro by Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II.
On the 12th of May 2013, the Kabaka of Buganda, Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, appointed Charles Peter Mayiga as Katikiro, replacing Jebi Walusimbi. Tomorrow, Wednesday 12th, marks 8 years of service as the Katikiro of Buganda.
Key among these achievements was to ensure that the Kabaka's government continued in operation during the strict lockdown and after. There was a fear that the government would totally close, but it didn't happen. And continued serving the people of Buganda.
He said most of his plans like Mwanyi Terimba have realized positive outcome.
But also the things that can be the practical activities continue, were carried forward. The practical activities, the Mwanyi Terimba campaign was continued. I think it is key in the fight against poverty, especially within the rural masses.
About continued visits by politicians at Ibulangi, Mayiga clarified that Mengo is non-partisan and welcomes all people from different political divides.
Many people in the opposition, when we do that, or even when they see us with central government personalities, if they see us with the president, with the ministers, they think we are central government moles, or we ensure the longevity of the regime, which is untrue. Similarly, when I'm seen with members of the opposition, those in government think I'm supporting the opposition. When I entertain them, when I host them, when I meet them, when I talk to them, they think I'm supporting them, I'm rendering support to them. So much so that they said when I encourage people to pick on the ripe coffee berries, they say I'm supporting NUP, which is ridiculous, really. So it's a very big challenge to balance the opposing political forces. But I think it only depicts that the kingdom has influence. Every political actor would like to see you aligning with him or her, given the influence that the kingdom enjoys.
Mr. Mayiga also shed light on recent social media attacks on him following Kabaka's public appearance.
Katikiro
Mayiga said COVID-19 affected much of the kingdom plans, although more than 80% of the set targets were achieved. Sebira Andrew compiled this report.
And Ugandans have been urged to keep peace as President-elect Yoweri Kaguta Museveni swears in tomorrow for his next term of office. The leader of St. Balikudembe Market, Ms. Susan Kushabe, has urged traders in Kampala that since tomorrow is a public holiday, they should abide by the guidelines set in place to allow them to participate virtually as the president is sworn in to avoid confrontations with the police. She wished Yoweri Museveni a successful term of office.
First of all, to congratulate the President of Uganda for securing our country and securing our market. I know it hasn't been busy, but we thank God that who has enabled him to achieve this term. We as Owino vendors, we are so grateful because of our market, and so far so good. We have achieved a lot in this interim leadership. In 2 months, we have seen some changes in the market. We no longer have floods. This road of Kafumbi-Mukasa was the worst road in Kampala, but when you go there, the road is very clear and everything is in order. We have achieved by electing leaders in sheds, all in houses. So far, we have more than 1,000 leaders in the market.
The swearing of our president comes from 7 tomorrow. It's a blessed day out for all Ugandans, and mostly with my ghetto youth, the Rastafarians, the single mothers, the orphans, the street kids. Yes. So we bless our country and we honor it, and we say thank to the God who gave us the president who can lead us in a very open-minded way for securing our future, the life of our people in ghettos mostly, and yeah, to see that we are happy with our country, because there are many people who are not happy in their countries. But we have food, we have money, we have everything is open. You see, even the corona did not hit us like other countries, so we have to really be blessed. That's what I mean. So I thank God for each and everything. I thank God for our president. People in ghetto, please keep peace, keep harmony, love yourselves, love your neighbors, you love yourself, and love the president of Uganda, because he has nothing to do. He came like something big, you know, like.
Now, the Ministry of Health has held an engagement meeting with Uganda Law Society on routine immunization and COVID-19 vaccination program in Kampala. During the meeting, Dr. Diana Twine, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Health, revealed that there is a process of amending the Public Health Act to transform it into a single document that will tackle all health issues in the country. Zahara Bigaba filed this story. Let's take a look.
The Ministry of Health is currently engaging non-health professionals in the country in a bid to increase uptake for health services and also promote health agenda. The engagement was between Uganda Law Society and the Ministry of Health to forge a way on the routine immunization and COVID-19 vaccination, in which some of the lawyers took part in the immunization exercise. The Permanent Secretary, Dr. Diana Twine, cautioned the lawyers to take up the vaccination seriously, since the benefits of the vaccination outweighs the risks.
The lawyers are always in court, and those courts are always packed, and therefore the risk that we face, you also face. I want Uganda Law Society to mobilize all your colleagues so that you get vaccinated. Today,
again, when the lockdown happened and lawyers were not essential, that caused even more problems. And when the courts were opened and lawyers were not essential, that even caused more problems. So for me today, this shows that we are trying to come away from that path and work together.
Dr. Twine revealed that the country is now on high alert to battle the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic amidst scarce resources and shortage in the availability of vaccines.
What we are seeing now, we are seeing like 40% of the admissions are young people that are coming with severe infection. What does that mean? It means that the epidemiology of this virus has changed. It is no longer only affecting the older people.
Dr. Twine also affirmed that the ministry is in the process of tabling on the floor of Parliament the amendment of the Public Health Act.
We cannot maintain that Public Health Act. It is really archaic. It has so many gaps. It does not provide any severe penalties to people who expose diseases to other people. So we are now in the process of amending that Public Health Act. And in that, we are going to consolidate all our laws that start the Public Health Act.
Zahara Bigaba, UBC.
Today in history.
On May 11, 1934, a massive storm sends millions of tons of topsoil flying from across the parched Great Plains region of the United States as far as east as New York, Boston, and Atlanta. That year, a severe drought spread across the region. As crops died, winds began to carry dust from overplowed and overgrazed lands, and the number of dust storms reported jumped from 14 in 1932 to 28 in 1933. The following year, the storms decreased in frequency but increased in intensity, culminating in the most severe storm yet in May 1934. Over a period of 2 days, high-level winds caught and carried some 350 million tons of silt all the way from the northern Great Plains to the eastern seaboard. And that day was today in history.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
The Executive Chairman, Board of Directors, Management and staff of Kira Motors Corporation congratulate General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on his inauguration as the President of the Republic of Uganda. Kira Motors celebrates His Excellency the President for the visionary leadership and ardent support towards building the indigenous motor vehicle industry in Uganda. Kira Motors Corporation is committed to building a better Uganda through automotive technology consistent with Uganda's aspirations and pathways to Vision 2040 and the NRM Manifesto 2021 to 2026. Specifically, 1. Promotion of local manufacturing of motor vehicles. 2. Establishment of an efficient, integrated, sustainable, safe and inclusive public transport system. And 3. Promotion of environmentally friendly transport solutions. Long live His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Long live the people of the Republic of Uganda. Long live Kira Motors Corporation.
Congratulations, Your Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, upon your inauguration as President of the Republic of Uganda. We at Ministry of ICT and National Guidance salute you and the people of the Pearl of Africa on the historic day. We deeply appreciate your significant role in seeking solutions to many of East Africa and Africa's political crisis and keeping us all in harmony. Your global advocacy on behalf of Africa is another example of your great leadership and calling beyond Uganda.
The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development joins the people of Uganda to congratulating His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni upon his election and swearing in as President of the Republic of Uganda. Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development pledges to continue formulating sound economic policies, mobilizing resources and regulating financial management to enhance economic stability and development of Uganda. Long live Your Excellency. Long live the people of Uganda.
And on business news, northern Uganda is set to receive an agricultural produce processing plant to address the quality of farming products. Board chairperson Asante Agro Limited, Captain Mike Mukula, expresses optimism in finding market for products processed under this arrangement. Henry Okurut witnessed the signing of food silos agreement in Kampala, with State Minister for Agriculture, Agri-Bajire, encouraging farmers to embrace this milestone for promotion of quality production.
This is one of the most consumed food crops in Uganda, with schools and families always feasting on the grain. Yet, its quality has come under question of late, including in neighboring Kenya, where it is also imported from Uganda. This underscores the need to adopt new post-harvest handling mechanisms.
This capacity that we have will now be able to build what you call the farm foundation of production in the country.
Now, this newly proposed, planned and confirmed installation of this aflatoxins treatment plant could be a solution.
We'll want to look at the breaking of the ground by end of September 2021. And we look forward to inviting His Excellency, the President himself, to do the groundbreaking. Because people talk about the value addition, transformation, industrialization. This is the journey we're walking.
Initially programmed to start in Soroti, the project is shifting to Gulu in northern Uganda, where much more land has been secured with a possibility of expansion. It was envisioned that the project will generate and maintain economic growth through market-oriented grain production in north and eastern regions of Uganda. This was at the Food Silos Agreement signing ceremony in Kampala between Asante Agro and Kimbria, another agriculture quality promoting company.
We are looking to close the loop by having a sustainable footprint. This would definitely include, at a later stage, which would probably be phase 3, a ground-mounted solar-powered source of power.
Organizations do not achieve success because of their ability to predict and create planned strategies. They achieve success because of their ability to constantly realign with the environment.
The signing ceremony was blessed by the presence of Ministers Agri-Bajire and Evelyn Anite for Agriculture, Investment and Privatization, respectively.
My question that I'm putting to my technical people in the ministry is, why should we talk about the potential and we don't put it into practice? It is hurting to talk about the potential. Let's turn the potential into action.
So you are not only going to do agriculture for consumption, but it's commercial agriculture with value addition, because we are planning to put 4 industrial parks in just the northern zone. One in Gulu, another one in Lira, the other in Arua, and then the other one in Adjumani.
The treatment plants will develop in 3 phases, starting with a 50,000 metric ton storage capacity projected to be expanded up to 300,000 metric tons. This will be the second largest in sub-Saharan Africa, after the one of Egypt, whose storage capacity stands at 400,000 metric tons. Henry Okurut, UBC.
In our sports the quarter draw for the Stanbic Uganda Cup round of 8 has been made. Hosted at the Federation of Uganda Football Association's head office in Mengo, the draw was conducted by ex-players Charles Ogwang and Sharif Semanya.
Number 49.
Vipers and Sports Club Villa have been drawn to face each other in the Stanbic Uganda Cup quarterfinals. The draw was made by former players Charles Ogwang and Sharif Semanya, whose Nile FC lost the 1996 Uganda Cup final to Ogwang's Umeme.
One of my most memorable matches when we were playing Kampala was the final, when Umeme beat Nile Football Club. I remember I was the captain. Our main captain, Eric, the late Eric Anyole, may his soul rest in peace, was on the bench. He had gotten injured. So I was the captain on that day. And it's me who happened to score the winning goal. Because I remember we beat Nile Football Club 1-0.
In fact, mu Uganda Cup ekyasinga okunsanyusa omanyi ttiimu zibeera nnyingi naye ndowooza naawe bw'obeera owulira essanyu nga muzze muggyako omwomu katugeze muwadde ttiimu nga 40 ne muggyako omwomu ne mutuuka ne mujja nga mugira ki musembera ndowooza bannaye okutuuka ku finals si kintu kyangu.
In other ties, Express FC will host KCC FC in the first leg. Wakiso Giants entertain Police FC, while reigning champions Proline wait for the winner between Kigezi Homeboys and Bull FC. Kigezi Homeboys and Bull FC is a delayed fixture from the round of 16 that Bull leads 2-1 from the first leg. All these ties to be played between 25th May and 2nd June will be home and away and determined by the team with more goals after 180 minutes, with the away goal rule applicable where matters and penalties the final determinant for progress. This year's Stanbic Uganda Cup final will be played in July at the Masindi Municipal Stadium, with the winner bagging 50 million Uganda shillings. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
And after months without serious golfing activities, Uganda Golf Union has streamlined guidelines to manage crowds during big tournaments due to COVID-19. Less than 200 golfers will be allowed on a particular tournament, starting with the Captain's Bell tournament that ushers in the new captain of the Uganda Golf Union. Newly elected captain Patrick Bill will be unveiling his new committee at the beginning of the new term of office. The Captain's Bell tournament is set to take place on the 22nd of this month and has attracted APSA as the new sponsor with 30 million shillings in sponsorship. Professionals will compete for a total kitty of 8 million shillings, while amateurs will compete in the medal play format.
On Thursday, on the Thursday of the week, with the professionals, and they play 2 days, and you know professionals play for money. Then we have the amateurs on Saturday. The format of play will be medal. We normally have a big entry of 250 players, but we hope to scale it down because of COVID. We can't have that many. Format of play is medal, and then we have a prize giving in the evening with social distancing and all the SOPs.
Looking at it from the total investment we are putting into it, we have a primary amount of 30 million Ugandan shillings that we are putting into the entire into the tournament. And overall, we have a budget towards this particular event of 50 million Ugandan shillings. The winner of the pro round, I think, will be accorded a prize money of 8 million Ugandan shillings. That is it, yeah, for the winner. Then for the packages of the amateurs, that's a similar amount that will be shared amongst various participants with various categories of prizes.
Well, and with that, let's take a quick look at the top stories tonight. President Museveni's fundamental change. UBC looks at Uganda's transformation journey under the NRM. Significance of instruments of power put into perspective. And Northern Uganda to receive processing plant. While Vipers versus Villa, Express versus KCC AFC in quarters. Well, that does it for tonight. Thank you for sticking with us here on News Tonight. Elizabeth Nakakoni on Sign Language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have yourselves a lovely night.
twegeya talibawa oyalirinya mu ngatto zo nezimutuuka otubeeredde mulungi muzeeyi y'ensonga tukwetaaga okuva mu 1986 mazima lulinga lwajjo mu 86 wasanga kifulukwa kyennyini ebyenfuna by'ensi yaffe byafanga n'ebitongole bifu lino lyali ggwangafu Uganda ng'ebalwa ng'etaliiwo ng'amaduuka temuli kantu olwaleero gajjudde okuva e Kampala ogende kyotera nga lubeera lunaku lulamba naye enguudo